Number one is the vesicle phase structural conformations of cholesterol's isooctatal chain by Raman spectroscopy interpreted by time-dependent density functional theory. Let's hear it. We can do it after. So number two is online teaching in my 3 brushes with Hollywood. April, what do you think? Which was it? That one's already loaded. That one's already loaded. Okay, so this is a weird thing to talk about. I don't usually go around talking about myself. The Jonesians hopefully will agree with that. I usually just talk about this. But I was sort of in a movie very briefly in the LA Alumni Association, because you know how LA people are. They wanted me to tell them the story of how it happened. And it's a very short story, so I expanded it to a longer story. And apparently now it's something I'm taking on the road. I don't know. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. So to get started, I did get my PhD in rights in 1998, and then I was a postdoc at Harvard University in Baltimore. And you may know that a lot of celebrities go to Harvard, a lot of celebrities' children go to Harvard, entirely on their own. Nothing going on. So when I was there, Miss Natalie Portman was there. Queen Amidala herself was an undergrad at Harvard. Okay? So I was a pretty big fan. This is my Halloween costume.
Good job.
This is Jennifer, if y'all are wondering. She insisted on a mask, so she was very small. So I did ride the subway like that. And so as a postdoc, you don't really hang out with the undergrads. You don't fraternize at all with the undergrads. You try to avoid them. But I did on a few occasions see Miss Portman. And when I saw her, I'd go, "Oh my God, Queen Amidala!" Oh my God. I did not do that. When I see Miss Portman, I would just look away and like try to drift away and not get anywhere near her, because I figured there was security that would probably kill me. So said hello to her. So, never spoke to Miss Portman. But one time, I was going down like a fairly narrow hallway in Harvard, and she was coming the other way with her squad. Okay? And we all had big jackets on. It looked like this. Y'all remember what this is? So it's just like this, right? So as they're approaching, I like lean into the wall. And like I'm just literally, oh my God, and I'm knocking pictures off. And my jacket brushed her jacket. The transitive property. This was my first brush with Hollywood. That one is pretty lame, but I had to have 3, so you can't do 2. Miss Portman was actually a pretty serious student at Harvard. She was, I think, a psych major. And she's known for saying this: "I'd rather be smart than a movie star." And hopefully y'all are far enough from college now that I can get away with saying this. Only a 20-year-old would say something that's maybe the people more of my generation understand what I'm saying. You're basically saying movie stars can't be smart. So you gotta think about these things before. That's like me saying, "I'd rather be smart than a biologist." Right? I would never say that. The point is, that's a counterexample, right?
You are Sheldon.
Yeah, pretty much. So she said that, and then if you notice, she's holding like a beaker of fluid, and she has safety glasses on, but no gloves, and short sleeves, and her hair's not pulled back. So maybe stick with her prescription. Okay, so that was a postdoc. So postdoc happened and went well, and then I got a job at Rice. So I had to come back and be a professor with professors that I just had classes with 3 years before. So it was a little weird, but it wasn't too bad. And when you're a new professor trying to get tenure, it's all about research. Research, not all, it's largely about research. So I was very focused on research in the early days, and I was giving a talk at the Institute for Pure and Applied Mathematics at UCLA. It's a pretty important talk because it was coming close to the tenure vote, right? And then part of the tenure vote is they get letters from people. So people that might be writing the letters were going to be at this talk. So I was like on my best behavior and trying to keep it together and not be weird. And so I had to go to LA. And so flew to LA. I'm a horrible traveler. Like, I will land, I'll go to the airport on the wrong day. I'm terrible. I'm not kidding. So I flew to LA. Flew there in the morning, the talk was in the afternoon, there was plenty of time. Fly to LA, drop the bags, hotel, go to campus, and it's raining. It's okay, buy an umbrella. And I needed coffee, went to a coffee shop, and I noticed there's all this sound equipment, there's a concert going on. So I thought, okay, there's a concert, whatever. And then I'm in line, and the two students in front of me were like, "Did you see her? Did you see her? Mischa Barton? Did you see her?" I don't know who Mischa Barton is, but I guess she's there. So I got my coffee. And then I had now I got to find the talk, right? Where to go? So I've got my umbrella and my coffee and the map. because there was no phone map with a blue dot. You had to like have a map, and you had to figure out where you were in the map. Like the Earth is on the map, and you have to like hold it. Like I was doing that, I'm trying to figure out where I was. So I'm looking around, and I look up, and I see a building, and there's a big banner that says, "Welcome to Cal Berkeley." I'm like at Berkeley, and I'm giving a talk at UCLA that my whole career depends on in like 3 hours. So screwed. I was like freaking out. It's like, Berkeley is in LA. No, Berkeley's in San Francisco. I'm not in San Francisco. So I'm like, then I'm going in my pocket for the printed like receipt from the airline to see like where am I in? What city am I in? You know? And I'm looking at it, and somebody yelled, "Cut!" Everybody around me stopped walking. I looked around. I'm on a set. They were pretending that UCLA was Berkeley, and nearly gave me a heart attack. So I fairly quickly figured this out and just like ran between some buildings into an alley to get away from whatever was happening. And I found this undergrad and I said, "Is this UCLA?" And she goes, "Yeah." Based on the way you said that, I know that I'm in LA. So I survived that, and I got back to Rice. And I told my grad student this story, and she said, "Oh my God, you are going to be on the OC." So this is some teen drama from the mid-2000s or whatever. This is Mischa Barton. The only person you might know from the OC is Peter Gallagher. He's still a little bit of an actor. I don't think it's Mischa Barton. It's Peter. I don't know if that's somebody's Mischa Barton. Okay, so yeah. So normally, then that's it. It's like, was I on the OC or not? You assume you weren't, because it's 2007. Right? I didn't catch that. Right? I forgot to record it. But now, what year is it? It's 2023. We have access to all media ever recorded of any television show. So, of course, I bought the episode of the OC where they go to Berkeley and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not in it. It's such a don't sit on that. Not in it, but I did confirm several things. Here's the coffee shop. Here's Mischa Barton. I was right there, probably 30 minutes after they filmed. And here is the frickin' banner on the frickin' And that's what nearly gave me a heart attack. I have watched this scene multiple times trying to see myself. People walking by. I thought they might want some like footage of some confused. But now that I'm so into Hollywood and production, I know why I didn't get in it. Is that umbrella I bought? UCLA, right on the umbrella. They couldn't use it. Continuity. I was a victim of continuity. So that's brush number 2. Then I got tenure. Right? Wow. Such a recent accomplishment. And once you have tenure, then you can start teaching intro classes if you're into it. So I tried that out, and I spent a lot of time. I want to watch all your faces in this room. Usually I get some like repulsion. So maybe you spent some time in this room with me. Maybe you sat back here with the stoners, right? So spent a lot of time in here, giving wild lectures, doing demos, having a lot of fun, really had a good time. I have no idea what I'm supposed to say next. Hold on one second. Oh yeah, it's the jokes. So anyway, so teaching in here was really great. Really seeing this room, all your faces, really takes me back to these days and this time. And it takes me back to this thing I used to think before every lecture, which was, I can't believe y'all paid to see this. I need to start remembering these jokes and not like setting them up so poorly. All right, so what led to online teaching? So I'm teaching in this room. And one thing about teaching big intro classes is some things about the experience led me to have interest in teaching online. So, more active learning. The way I'm going to explain this experience is we're going to act it out. So I need 3, it's just like a demo where I get volunteers. I need 3 people to come act with me. Since this is about Hollywood, I need 3 actors to explain. Remember when I used to draw names out of a jar? Remember that? Was anybody here when I drew the names out of a jar? Anybody? All right, here we go. You'll be 2. I'm going to call you in order. You're 2 and you're 3. All right? So I'm over here in my office, doing what we do in physics, And then people start knocking with office hours. Right?
Well, the light is my face.
Oh, yeah. I'm used to it. All right, so, come on in. I
I'm confused on question 7. How can the field be 0 if there are 2 positive charges?
Well, you gotta remember the electric field is a vector, so you can have 2 vector components pointing different ways.
Wow, that makes so much sense now. You explain physics better than anyone in the world. Rice should double your salary.
Okay. Right, next. Hey, what's up?
I'm confused on question 7. How can the field be 0 if there are 2 positive charges?
Because the deal is electric field is a vector, right? So the 2 components can point opposite ways and give you 0.
That makes so much sense now. The impact of your teaching is on par with Aristotle's foundation of the life.
Next. Yeah.
I'm confused on question 7. How can the field be 0 if there are 2 positive charges?
You see, electric field is a vector, so the 2 components can point opposite directions and cancel and give you 0.
Wow, that makes so much sense now. You're like Carl Sagan and Brad Pitt rolled up into one person.
Thank you for those ad-libs at the end. That was really great for you to throw those in, you know. So basically, I was answering the same question all day, over and over and over and over. So you could say office hours are important for a discussion and an interaction, and if somebody is confused in a specific way, you work the answer to explain just to them. That's true. But about 80% of it is the exact same question over and over again. So it seemed obvious to me they should be put online, like just a video of a professor answering the same question over and over again. You can watch it over and over again, or watch it at 2 in the morning, you don't have to come to office hours. The whole thing seemed to make more sense. This is about 2010, and I figured when I record something for my kid's birthday, it was still going to magnetic tape. And then you had to have a converter to get it into a computer with a special board. So that was not easy. The video formats made files huge. This wasn't happening. Okay? There's no way I could think of to distribute this video. But then I was at my colleague's kid's birthday party. Doug Natelson's kid was turning like 7. And we're at the party and we're singing and doing the cake and all. And Natelson whips out this. Right?
Yeah.
This is a flip cam. This was one of the first little devices where it records straight to a solid state drive. HD, and then you hit the button and ding, a little USB sticks out and you stick it on. So this made recording video easy and in high definition. It even had a YouTube button. We just put it on YouTube. So the technology suddenly became available. So I said, all right, I'll do this. So I recorded just explanations of the homework that had the answers to all the standard things that people get confused about. Threw it on YouTube. So it was about 2011 or something like that, and it worked. And what's funny is if you watch the views over time, here it is. So I made my YouTube channel, I don't know what that is, but I put it on, and this is like, I put out the solutions, and then it's like pledge problem, exam, pledge problem, exam, pledge problem, final exam. The entire semester.
Oh.
And this is the next semester I wasn't teaching that. See, I only taught 102, I didn't teach 101. So I'll show you more later. But then, so that was around 2010, 2011, and then 2012 hit. Okay, 2012 was declared by the New York Times to be the year of the MOOC. MOOC is a weird word. It stands for Massively Open Online Course. This and all these companies were just saying, let's put this university education out there for nothing. Just see what happens. Some people, so there were venture capitalist people saying crazy stuff like, oh, in 50 years, all the universities will be gone. There'll just be 10 of them. So it'll all be just destroyed by this. Of course, I knew this was not true, right? There's something called research that also drives universities. It's not just teaching people freshman physics, right? There's more to it than that. So I knew this wasn't true, but I did think it would be an interesting thing to get into. So the person in charge of edX, which was the more touchy-feely, everything should be free group, relative to definitely this and kind of this, he came to Rice and said, who wants to make a class? And somehow I ended up in the meeting, and I thought, I'll make a class. I mean, it sounds fun. And to me, even if all this went away and was a total joke, I'd be getting Rice to produce all this content for me, and I could put lectures on YouTube. So instead of just homework problems, let's put the lectures and see what happens. That'd be hard for me to make on my own to do all the demos and everything. But, if they're going to do it, why not? And they pay me. Not much. Just a team. It doesn't take much to get a professor to do something. So the interface looked like this, right? So you go around here and you watch a video, and here's all the videos, and you do homework and watch videos, and it's, we've all known that, right? After the pandemic, everybody knows this. But so our approach was to make this as much like sitting in Hertzstein Amp as possible. It's like you don't want to buy the really flashy clothes because in 5 years, you buy the classic clothes, right? So we just made it look like as close as we could to Hertzstein Amp. We shot at Hertzstein Amp. I didn't use a whiteboard. I didn't use a glass wall in front of me so you could see my face. I didn't do that stuff. Right? Just blackboard. So we shot it to look like Hertzstein Amp, and we did the demos. This is licking the Van de Graaff. That kind of hurts. These are bottle rockets where we put a bunch of methanol in a big water jug, flies across the room. I've never done it with people in the room. And I am told that like 10 years before me, they would shoot these off with students. Doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Then we could go outside. We could explore the campus. Here I'm chasing a string wave, and here I'm dropping balls off 45. Dropping balls, that's watermelons off the stadium. And we could even go outside. This has been edited, obviously, so we could have class outside. So we could even do more than just sit in Hertzstein amphitheater. So that was kind of fun. Another cool thing about it was the discussion forum. So the idea is the students aren't on a campus together, but they can electronically, internet-wise be together. So in the forum, people would talk and ask a question, and it's not just up to me to answer. Other learners start answering. And there are some people taking these classes that are experts, and they're doing it because they love to teach, or they're retired and want to teach, so they would come teach. Right? So sometimes somebody would ask a question, and somebody would draw this by hand and scan it and upload it to answer the question. Like people really cared about all this stuff. So there's this one person who's very famous named Grove. He's like a celebrity online TA. Like if you had Grove in your class, the numbers went up. I was like kissing Grove's ass really hard. And he showed up, and he's an interesting guy. It's like he was killed. His parents fled communism in Russia, and so he was this legendary guy that helped out the classes a lot. So weird things happen like that you wouldn't expect. The discussion forum also kind of became like a social media thing. Right? We would really talk and get to know each other, and a lot of us actually watched Gilmore Girls together. Somehow we started talking about Gilmore Girls. And I watched the first one. That's pretty funny. And then we talked about what would happen in the second one. We watched all 7 years. I thought we would get back together for a year in the life, and then we didn't. Maybe it'll still. There's some physics in Gilmore Girls. You have to watch it. So then when you're making an online class, especially in 2012, and it's all this hysteria and a lot of eye rolling and a lot of cynicism, you'd always get asked 2 questions about this. Always 2. First question is the standard question about anything: how big is it? Right? So for how big is it, I figured you want to know. So this is how big it is. So the early classes on edX during all the super hype hysteria got over 100,000 people for a few of them. A lot of this is people that are like, hey, I signed up, and I never log in again. But this is kind of the typical completion rate is 1% to 2%. So 1,700 people finished ENN. So I think about 7,000 have finished these classes. This is sort of the old mode where it was free and people sign up with no skin in the game, or maybe they don't do anything. The later model is we're now moved everything to Coursera, which Coursera is continuing and you pay a little bit, or your company pays for you to take classes. So since people, so that the reason the numbers are low is it's all very recent, but also the completion rates are much higher. So people really are using these. And where it's all headed, I don't know. You can get certificates. What is a certificate worth? I don't know. What's a degree worth? It's all being decided now. Are these certificates worth anything? They're worth enough that some companies are paying their employees to take these classes. Not so much introphysics, other classes. So I think it's kind of good. So that's how big it is. This is how big the YouTube channel is. This was that first year I showed you. And then this is 101. I didn't teach 101. There's 102, same thing, same thing, same thing. And then I dumped all of the lecture content on YouTube around here. Wow. It starts growing, growing, growing. And what happened in March of 2020? I have a video for good online education. Mine peaked the first day because I have a video called Corona and Arc Discharge. So that video just totally blew up. They click it and they're like, this isn't the corona. So I massively benefited from the coronavirus, from the name coronavirus. So now it gets about 1,200 views a day. So I like to claim I'm teaching physics all the time, 24/7. All the time. My therapist says I have a messiah complex, but I forget. So Then now, so how did that lead to then the final brush? Here, let me make sure that was really all this stuff. Oh, I forgot the second reason. The second question. Yeah, so one question was how big is it? Of course, that's the first one. The second question is why do it? And so why should Rice put all this stuff online? So one reason to me is just like it's just the right thing to do, right? So we have all this teaching equipment and ability and videography and beautiful lecture hall and demos that we've procured or curated for literally 100 years. And all we do is just show it to Rice students 3 times a week. Like, why not record it and let everybody see it? Right? It seemed, so to me, that was the main reason. Just, of course you're going to do that. And you're going to earn $5,000 a month. So I couldn't imagine not doing it for that reason. So one, I think it's just the right thing to do, get the good content. The second reason is Rice's reputation. I didn't quite memorize this talk all the way. Yeah, so Rice's reputation, so it does impact the university's reputation in a positive way when you search Coursera and you say, I want to see a class about Python, and possible, the best one in the world according to all their rankings is the one from Rice. You want to take a class on E&M, you're like, well, this one's kind of weird, but it's pretty good. So that impacts people because, okay, this is a weird thing to think about, okay? Not everyone in the world has heard of Rice University. I know. There are people on this earth that have not heard of Rice University. So this broadens just knowledge of Rice and all the things we can do and everything by people mostly going to Coursera and going to Google and going to YouTube. And Rice Online has now hit, I think, about 4 million people is the number of people that have legitimately learned something from Rice Online. And they've had freshmen tell them, I never heard of Rice until I took this class. Right? So it's not just randos around the world. I love my randos. I've talked to a lot of randos around the world about physics. But it's also people that are actually going to come and be students. Like, it does actually happen. So even in the United States, there are people that haven't heard of it. So it has a big reputation impact, we believe. And finally, there is money. So it's not going to make us rich, right? So I think there are fantasies, that we'll be one of the 10 institutions standing in 50 years, and it'll be this income stream so high. But that's never going to happen. I never thought that would happen. But I think of it as it brings in enough income to support itself and maybe let us try other things. Right? So that's really all it is. You just want it to not be in the red. Some things we do are in the red. Some things are in the black. Some things are in the middle. Some things are really in the red. Some things are in the black. So Rice Online, I think, is a reasonable thing that's sort of in the middle and doesn't lose a lot of money, but lets lots of other things happen. So, so then, I ended up in this movie. So that's the part that I was asked to talk about in the very first talk, and it's such a short story that I was like, got to handle the first time. So I just randomly got this email in 2019. It just said, whoever wrote this book, Corey, who doesn't work at Rice, he works at edX, really needs to work on how he starts an email. Okay? Hi all, not even to me. We received an exciting request from a Hollywood producer. That can't be a real email. That sounds like something regarding edX product placement in the movie Palm Springs, a part of the physics learning montage. And he literally gave the stereotype of the movie that the director and the writer don't want to hear. It's like Groundhog's Day at a wedding. If you wrote this movie, you don't want this to be called Groundhog's Day. Anyway, that's what this stuff is. And it's got Andy Samberg and the Lonely Island guys and Kristen Milioti and this famous J.K. Simmons serious actor guy. They said there'll be this montage and blah, 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 and it's physics, and she's learning physics online, and we want to show a clip from your class. And I was like, okay. They said, you have to approve it and Rice has to approve it. And I said, sure. Right? And the pay we get is product placement. Right? They'll put Rice on it. So I said yes, but then the office that's in charge of Rice's reputation online had to say yes. Don't know who, if you don't know what office that is. They're a wonderful office. But they're a little careful with Rice's reputation. So I was very nervous they were going to say no, but they said yes. So I got in there, and so they're going to use it. And now, can I tell the personally embarrassing part that makes me look really stupid? No, I won't. They could have grabbed, literally, there's 1,200 videos on the YouTube channel. They could have grabbed any video. And this is a video where I explain we calculate the trajectory of beer pong balls being thrown. While I explain it, I'm playing beer pong with myself and drinking a giant beer. And actually, I don't drink much, so I was getting a little bit It's one of my favorite videos, and that's what I thought. Oh my God, it's the beer pong video. I thought like the Lonely Island thinks I'm funny, and that's like in their movie with my physics comedy. It's like, oh my God. So I thought this briefly. So then I sent an email back to the producer that was like not too embarrassing. It's like, I have the whole clip of the beer pong thing. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. We just want this 1 second.
One second.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, never mind. Like so embarrassed. I thought I'd lost the comedy career. But it is the funniest video that they happen.
Were you in the credits?
Yeah, so that's okay. So yeah, we'll get to that. So what happens in the movie is it's like a sci-fi rom-com thing. So I love it. It's perfect. So the female character, they're stuck in a time loop. The female character decides she's going to use physics to break out of the time loop because they have all this time. Right? So she's going to take all these online courses and then take the online courses, learn physics, and get them out. Right? So it's just day after day. We're going to this diner and watching online courses. And the first thing she logs on, quantum physics. What does she get? What's it going to be? It's going to be MIT. You're not going to get it from us. You got to do better. You got to shoot a little higher. So she wakes up again, drives to the diner, goes and I'm the only one that put her to sleep. I show 3 of them, and the first one she's like, oh, and why she's like, oh. And then the third one she figures it out, and all this red stuff comes out of her. Well, then at the end, she talks to a real there's one physics professor that does a lot of stuff with movies and consults, and she actually spoke to him overseas. So there's a fourth. So yeah, there's a lot of really crude sexual humor in this movie, so I can't recommend it to all. My connection to the producers was almost nothing. It was just they told me, "Can we do it?" I said yes. I tried to convince them to show my whole beer pong thing. They said no. And then I got one more email that said, "How do you want us to list you in the credits?" And I said, "I don't know. Well, you want Professor Abner, Dr. Abner?" I was like, "I don't know." But because I'm in the credits, it auto-generated an IMDb. But it was just a blank page with no biography, so I made an account. I sent in my academic bio, and I put a couple of jokes in there because I wanted to see if they get through. So I was like, hey, they went through because nobody's reading it, obviously. So I got my jokes in there. But then this is the most embarrassing, worse than the Lonely Island stuff is IMDb mini biography provided by I got outed and I wrote my own IMDb program. That's so painful. So that was the second brush with Hollywood. So I'm going to leave you with 2 what I consider weird cosmic coincidences. Okay, here's one. Peter Gallagher was the dad in the OC, and he was the father of the bride in Palm Springs. Me and Peter Gallagher are connected. The other major coincidence is, I don't know if you know this, but I was the magister of Jones College until recently. And the whole crux of the plot and the way that Sarah solves the quantum problem based on my teachings at work involves, I don't know if y'all are aware of Jones's thing with goats. How many of you know about goats? Jones goats? Wait a minute! She's leading the goat into the quantum anomaly, and this is the moment, the culmination of my career. Boom.
Oh,
God.
There was some connection between me and Sarah. All right, that's it. The end.